To all my people in these times, locked down inside, feeling like no one cares, feeling like no one's there, yeah. Come together, let's reach out, spread peace and love all both, there's enough love to share.
Hi guys, it's your girl Joella Olivia and we're here at the Making Changes studio in Birmingham. This is the Creative Link podcast. It's been a long time coming. It is cold, we're in our gloves and our hats and we're warm and cozy in here, and we're going to talk about what the Creative Link has to offer, the creative link between creativity, community, youth, mental health. But we do have our first guests, which are the CEO and founders of Making Changes Studio, who are going to help me show you what this podcast is going to continue to do here in their studio. And what we're going to talk. Yeah, what's going on? What's going on, guys?
Nothing, man. Honored to first of all have you join the Making Change family.
For sure.
Yeah,
you
man.
know, pushing a positive message out there, one that's very akin to our own.
Yeah.
So thank you really for thinking of us and coming through and
Definitely
sharing your experiences.
Yeah.
What it's like in this industry
Yes.
that we're in.
Yes. First of all, I want to start off by you guys introducing yourself, like your names. I know them. They may not know you.
Okay.
So I want this to reach now because, you know, we've had our own conversations. I've been doing so much work for the last 4 years, and now it's really about widening our horizons and showing people exactly what we do, because we have a lot of WhatsApp groups, we have a lot of little link ups.
Yes.
But now it's time to sort of have something like this that we do regularly so that we can engage more people to understand what we're trying to achieve. So first of all, your names and your platform, tell us about it.
Well, I'm Greg from Making Change Studios. Making Change Studios has been running for about 4 or 5 years now. We've moved through different kind of areas of work in that time. I think we initially set up as a podcast recording studio, and it's just really evolved in what we're trying to do, because we kind of, as we've gone along, you kind of see the need for what needs to be done and what people kind of come to you with. And that automatically makes you evolve what you're doing, because you realise where the
need is,
where the work is as well.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, so that's led us to develop different programs, workshops, and ways that we work with people.
Of course, yeah.
And I think that we've been speaking for a good while. Off and on about doing something like this, a collaboration.
And now the time has come. We're aligned.
It's crazy that we're both big on collaboration and co-production.
Yeah.
And it's taken till now to kind of get it.
But you know what? Everything
has its time.
Has its time. You know, all in divine timing. And I think it's important that we do wait till the right time. Like, something that you want to last forever is never rushed, right? And I just feel like the collaboration between the Creative Link and Making Changes Studio, I feel like it's very important, because just the name itself is what attracted me to you guys, Making Changes. So I often say that,
just to correct you, because you said it a few times, that it's Making Change Studios.
Well, thank you.
There's a reason why I corrected you, because there's a reason why I corrected you, because it's like it's a double entendre.
Yeah.
You can work it out for yourself, but it changes with the S in it. So
just
letting you know.
And you know what is so important as well, that I continue.
Name is my name.
That I continue. Yeah, my name is my name, and that I continue to say it right. And I'm saying the Making Changes Studio, but let's just get it right. It's Making Change Studio.
Boom.
Yeah, no S. It's Making Change Studio, and it was the fact that change is in there that was inviting for me, because our slogan for the Creative Link is the power of collaboration. So I always wanted to build this podcast. Like, I always wanted to create this podcast because, number one, I talk a lot. And then number two, I feel like there's a lot of important conversations that us as creatives need to have. Yes. I feel like, you know, this is a form of therapy, just being able to sit down and relax and talk to each other. I feel like I want to provide this space for my members, and I feel like, you know, it's all round important. Why it's took me so long after being I've been speaking to you guys for so long, but everything in its time.
100%.
And what I've been able to do in this time is build up the network, grow, do events, you know. So we've both been able to do this, and then I feel like we're both at a stage where the power of collaboration really comes into play, because whatever we do together now will be really powerful, because you guys have already got your platform and your network and your, you know, regular people that come here, and then I've got my network members who I care so dearly about. Like, everybody is so valued. It's not just, this isn't just a job to me. Like, you know, I was a teacher, and it's about 2017 that I stopped teaching, and then I kind of went away to America, started getting back into my acting and my modelling, and then I realised, like, I want to build my own network, because what was happening is, with my mental health and physical health, I was sort of like, kept feeling like I was falling backwards, and I needed to it was hard to kind of knock on the door again to everybody, like, yo, what's going on? Can you holler at me? And then you kind of feel, it kind of makes you feel a bit deflated, because it's like, oh, why are those same connections that I spent all that time making not there for me anymore? Like, why is it so hard to get back into everything, just because I've had some life challenges? Don't we all have life challenges? So this is why I kind of found like there's a gap in the market for a company or an organisation to kind of bring creatives together and support each other and have that continuous communication and events and podcasts and, you know, time and support. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, out of all the companies and community interest organisations or businesses, is there really one in Birmingham that brings everybody together and that's what it's about? Do you get what I mean? I'm not saying there isn't. I'm just saying, like, I felt like I needed that for myself, and that's why I created this. Like,
I think it's hard for, if you are creative yourself as well, to forge a career and a pathway.
Yeah.
In the industry, it's very hard. If you make music, if you're a model, if you're, you know, a painter, spoken word, it's going to be very hard for you on your own to create anything sustainable.
Yeah.
You need the power of collaboration. I mean, the problem is, a lot of the time we feel like there's only enough space for one. One person's going to make it, one company, one organisation. But in fact, if you join resources, you're just going to make a more powerful movement. More people are going to see you, more people are going to be involved.
To me, it's just like, it makes so much sense to, like, oh, okay, then let's join forces and do this. Like, let's do a project. But a lot of the time, what I hear in the industry is it's a conflict of interest. Like, so because the Creative Link is an umbrella company and we have so many different arms to it, so you've got the creativity side, you've got the business side, if you call it, where we're a creative agency now providing work for our creatives. The agency takes 20% of any work that's over £100. Like, anything under that, I would never want to do that. But it was time for Creative Link to start making a profit and start 100%. Making money so that we can help our members more, and that was the way of doing it. It was a way that people said to me from years ago, but how the plant was seeded was that I needed it for myself anyway. So it was kind of like therapy for me to start these link-ups, bring people together, promote everyone, and I wanted it to be free because, you know, with mental health breakdowns and physical breakdowns, we don't often have the funding, the capacity to apply for it, the bid writing, or we don't have sometimes we don't have the resources, or we're not able to work and fund these kind of creative endeavours. So this is why for 4 years I've wanted it to just be totally free. And for the opportunities, you know, paid or unpaid, we're just here as a community, as one. And, you know, we have emerging creatives and we have established creatives, and that was important to me because I wanted to strip away the ego, get to know the artist behind the art, and really just come together. So at an event that we now do consistently monthly at Channel 7 Bar in Digbeth, you know, Custard Factory, creative spot in the heart of Birmingham, we allow 7 artists to showcase themselves, and then we have the open mic segment. Now, I love the open mic segment because you never know who's going to come through the door. They just have their memory stick, or they just vibes or do a cappella, And that's just a really fun part, because sometimes we have free mics and then we have people harmonising and doing great things. But throughout that event, we talk about mental health, we talk about the services, we talk about the agency, and then we have the 7 acts who do like 2 to 4 tracks. So we provide this platform monthly now, so we'll be on our 4th one on the 25th this month on Friday. And we provide the platform now so that people can actually meet up. And we've been wanting to do it for a long time, because everything's pretty much online. And then that's all great, but the online world is like a world by itself.
Yes.
But we wanna make people come together. So at this one, it's going to be quite special that we have on Friday, because we're gonna have an interactive workshop with our uni placement student. So that's opportunities that we're providing for a student from Derby, and she's gonna do like music and mental health, because she does music and therapy. And then we're gonna have a speaker who does holistic therapy, and it's called Freedom in Creative Freedom, but it's called Amori Management. And that lovely lady's going to come. We have the CEO coming from a mental health charity that specialises in supporting people of colour with mental health.
This is crazy. What you do, everything you just described.
Yeah.
Exactly the same as like what we've been
Well,
doing.
this is why you were meant to be my first guest on my podcast. This is why I was meant to do it here, because we're so aligned in everything that we do here.
Madness.
That's
Listen,
crazy.
everything you said, down to the CEO of, like, everything was just like, huh?
And it's funny, because we've spoken so much before this actual podcast, but then this is why I was like, right, we need to get in there and speak, because this is all conversation in terms of everything you're doing and everything I'm doing, which is worth putting in this first
100%.
episode, because like the fact that the CEO is coming of ACCI, Afro-Caribbean charity based in Wolverhampton, they're going to come to Birmingham, and the fact that they're coming is great. We are actually supporting Mind, because I see in the music and mental health platform, why don't you do your music event to fundraise for Mind? Now, I've actually been supported through them personally, had therapy with them, had 5 sessions, they were great. So it
Shout
was
out
like,
to Mind.
yeah, shout out to Mind UK. They are great. So I thought, okay, then signed up for that. Really easy process. You get someone assigned to you. You get all the materials to promote and stuff sent out. You get a logo to put on your stuff. And it's been a great process. So we're supporting them, and I'm going to make the target of £100 to raise for their services. Okay. You get a little pin badge, and I'm a bit of a nerd, so I want the pin badge. So I'm going to raise some money for them through the event. And this... Did I say this will be our 3rd or our 4th? You know, I'm rubbish. Yeah, it'll be our 4th. And it's just been a lovely vibe. It's never been like capacity, because it's 150 people capacity, but it's been the right people. It's been the artists. And the main thing is that in our artist music WhatsApp chat, we help each other. And like, you know, the artist will say, what do you think of this? It'll be a little clip of their music, you know, just in the studio. I always notice that men always put it around the studio, whereas women will be like, what do you think of this? And then we'll like mind tweet. But men will be like, what do you think of this? And put it on the speaker. Well, it's really nice having all these little clips of these creations from artists and how they're feeling about it. And, you know, it's really nice, like, yo, man's not feeling that bit there still, but if you do this or if you take that little bit off, it's nice to have.
It's like they're
people
all like
discussing
microcosms of the same thing that we're talking
exactly, because we're all going through the same struggles in life. Like, not the same, but we're all going through something. So every struggle makes us stronger. Through every breakdown, you have a breakthrough. And this is just constantly what I'm telling the Creative Link members in each group. Like, keep going, always spreading positivity. So it's nice that in each group, so in our modelling group, we had girls talking about, talking about, you know, their body conscious issues and stuff. So that's important, because, you know, as much as we're out there having to come across very confident as models, I'm a model myself, actress, model, presenter.
But there's definitely pressures.
But there's definitely pressures that you have as a model, do you know what I mean? And everybody just expects you to just be confident and love yourself, when actually that's not the case. A lot of the time, there's models that love themselves much less than you would think. So
definitely. I think that's because they're constantly being judged by people.
Exactly.
And that is the nature of the job. So you have to be a very tough person to be able for someone to be basically critiquing what you look like. That is your
Exactly.
job.
Whereas a lot of people think that's easy, and it isn't, because you're constantly being watched. And as
tough.
yeah, and as women, we're going through things as well, like, you know, hormones, and then pregnancies, and then this, and then that, and then this, and then it's kind of like to keep your body a certain way. So if you're a curve model, you're expected to stay curvy. If you're you know, the standard size 0 to size 10 model, then you're expected to stay like that. Like,
listen, I know what you're talking about. I mean, back in the day when I was a hair model,
yeah,
I went in one day, hairline was all baldness, yeah. I was bald.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been laughing like that.
To go job centre.
I was screwing in that, man. Trust me, come out the bath.
So what's your work experience, Erin? I was a hair model.
Was you really a hair model?
Yeah, right.
Was it? Are you joking? Or was really? You really was? Oh my! Because I'm so gullible, and I'm like, really, no way.
There's something in standing in front of a camera, like whether you're barely clothed or fully clothed. There's something about standing in front of a camera,
vulnerable,
which exposes you to yourself. And if you look at a picture kind of, if you can judge a person's body esteem by how they feel standing in front of a camera.
Yes.
It's like, even like, I'm sat here now and the camera's over there. I'm thinking, yo, man was eating like cherry pie last night. I'm sitting here with my elbow like on my knee. Like,
you know what? It's really interesting because for this Creative Link podcast, there's going to be Talk Queen, which is Queen sitting here and talking, and then TalKIng. You get it?
Yeah,
Talking.
Yeah.
But Kings talking. Get it?
I like
yeah.
that.
So basically, it's like so interesting to hear your perspective of body conscious views. Like, even though I know you're just joking, was you really covering your belly?
I'm being deadly serious. My elbow is here, so you do not see the bulge.
You know what? It's
listen, do you know what it is?
interesting.
I grew up using the gym from 15, 16.
Yeah.
Constantly using the gym till I was about 30. Then I fell off a bit, and then it's been on and off. So I've always been conscious of my physique and my what I look like to other people. So,
because you know, for men,
because I'm not using the gym at the moment, like I know,
a little bit like I'm not how I want to be right now.
Exactly. So I'm aware of it though, but I can stand in front of a camera and be mostly comfortable because I'm quite like as
selfish.
I'm comfortable in my own skin and it.
So you know, like for men, obviously for women, when we're we're conscious in many ways in terms of like hair, makeup, what we're wearing, body. And like for men, obviously, you've told me that, you know, men can also be body conscious. Because I think we underestimate men and their confidence issues or any kind of self-esteem and validation that you might want and need and stuff. And like for men then, in terms of like appearance and like modelling, like would you guys, like if I said to you like on our next fashion show, would you be comfortable to model some clothes and walk down the runway?
A string vest, no. String vest, no. But if it was like a sharp suit or something tailored and that, let's do it.
So it depends what it is, yeah? Well, in modelling, you are a mannequin, you do not have a say. Right. You come, you turn up, they could put you in a black bin bag and you're supposed to model that.
Put me in a Lady Gaga.
Yes, for real, you don't have a say.
Oh no, you don't see the clothes before you get there.
Nah, you don't, not most of the time you are really like a mannequin. If you've been booked for a fashion show, you're wearing what they've given you. Now, one of my first fashion shows where I won an award for best representation model of that brand. And basically, obviously, I kind of knew what it was. It was like, kind of bourgeois. Is that a word? Bourgeois. Bougie. We say bougie now, but it was like bourgeois, or I don't know, just some kind of like sexy. Everything was like red, and basically, I ended up having to wear a red. So I invited my family, my boyfriend at the time, his mom, his sister, his brother, his dad. Did his nan come? I can't remember. But basically, I was in a red underwear, red silk underwear and a cape. And listen, I peeked through the curtain, I seen them like sitting down, and I was thinking, oh God, like I'm going out in this underwear, like I'm really gonna do this. And then I just had to think, well, this is what modelling is. I just gotta do it, gotta go out there. But back then, I was like, how old was I? 19. So I was really quite slim. And I just was like, okay then, do it. And it was just like, game face on, let's go. But through the walkway, did it in the end, you get me? And then I won an award and stuff, and I just thought, okay, well that was worth it. But then afterwards, seeing like who I'd invited and that, it was just like, didn't really know I was going to be doing that. But
Yeah.
thank you so much, because you get excited. It's your first show and you get
know
excited
it's a job,
about these things. And it's a job. It's a job.
If you've done that job well, they're going to be proud of it.
Exactly.
Like,
And I did do it well.
Tell you
And
a funny story, yeah.
Huh?
One time when in What's On magazine, and someone asked me to do a shoot for this. So when I did this shoot, got there, it was like I was a stand-in for the other model in it. So they'd ordered his clothes, but he was smaller than me.
Did you have some jack up side?
So some pink t-shirt, right, tight around my chest. Some socks and sandals, but the sandals were about 3 sizes too small. Flip-flops, so like it was down on my foot like this. Listen, I didn't mind all that. Listen, it's all in a day's work.
Nah,
Bright
you
green
did it.
top. jacket. Listen, man was pouting on it and everything. It's my first shoot. I was stealing it like bang, bang, bang. But when I looked at the magazine, it was the What's On edition where there was like a festival season, and I think the Marleys was touring or something. And it had like the Marleys on the middle page, and on the next page you turn it, it was me in a tight pink t-shirt and some sandals that don't fit me pouting. I was like, rah!
You was really
How you gonna do that to me like that?
With
How
your
you gonna do
flip-flops up?
Yeah.
Oh, nah.
I was just standing and they said like we couldn't get the clothes.
But you know what? I rate it.
So I was like,
Did you get paid for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, go exactly. I rate it. It was a job and you delivered. And you know what? Sometimes what I'd like to talk about in this.
Sold my soul.
You might have felt like you sold your soul a bit.
Nah,
but you know what?
Because I know the circumstance of how it arose in it.
Yeah.
If they'd have said to me beforehand, this is going to happen, then I would have been like, I ain't really going to do that, am I? But I got there and I was committed to it.
But you know what? In the creative industry, this is how things go. Like, you get thrown in the deep end.
Yeah.
You exploring with things that you never really thought you'd explore. Obviously, we have our boundaries. Like, some things you're just not going to do any. You know, I'm an actress, and I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this. Like, if you had to do certain things, like, for an acting role, you might not.
Asking for the Casey? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that. I'm just saying, like,
How gay we talking?
Okay, maybe like a sexual scene.
No.
Okay. You see what I mean? Like, and guys, this is nothing against the LGBT community.
Not at all.
Straight. It's just straight a question just to ask, like,
but the first
what
thing you
you're
ask is,
comfortable
would you do? If you said like, would you stand in front of a man and say, "I love you" and all that?
Then you would do
I'll
that.
do it. Yeah. Like,
It's money. It's a job, and it's.
But we're talking about sexual scenes, like rubbing up, like
What is it?
mustaches rubbing together. Like
just like I said, if you're a model.
You hear my mustache going and another mustache, like, way.
Listen, like I said, if you're a model, you're a mannequin, you have to just do what they're telling you. You have to wear what they're telling you to wear. If you're an actor, you're doing what the role tells you to do, what the director tells you to do. So this is why you're not an actor, and this is why you're not models.
I'm going to job centre for twice in this interview. I'm like, yeah.
But what I would
I'm gonna
say
cut,
is,
you know.
Sorry,
bro.
What I was
young though. I was young. I'm still talking. I still have cold showers about that.
Oh my God.
Photo shoot. I'm in the bottom of the shower. Like,
Nobody
saw it. Nobody saw it.
Nobody saw it. Listen, I'm gonna find out the magazine and repost
I already
that.
said, but maybe I'll cut that before you get the video.
Yeah, I'm finding the magazine. I'm looking for that and posting you guys. But no, like the thing about that, it's like so interesting to talk about what you're comfortable with and what you're not within the industry, you know. And with Creative Link, it's like we like to guide our younger members. You know, guidance and protection is a big thing for the youth. So we have the youth division, which is the Creative Link Young Kings and Queens, where we do self-love, self-confidence, body confidence. You know, we have to, you know, instill this in them from early, like, you know, about what confidence is, what it means to love yourself, and teaching them about mental health.
Awareness,
you know, awareness, yeah. So we do like, we call it the empowerment program. We do an hour of body confidence, self-love, self-confidence. When I lift up my fist, we say we are powerful, because that's the main thing, knowing that you're powerful no matter what you look like. It's not about how you look, it's about how you feel. And then, you know...
It sounds like you're radicalising these youths.
Radicalising it? Listen, whatever I've got to do to make them feel like young people... Yes! Yeah, man! We're radicalising it, yes. Whatever I've got to do to make them know that they're amazing and that they're powerful, like young kings and queens. 100%. And basically, it's like... There are so much young people that are so much more conscious now and like 100%. Self-conscious and worried about themselves due to Instagram and these kind of things I wanted to do these empowerment programs with no funding and stuff, just did it because I just felt like it was so important. And some of these kids were really nervous. I don't know how you two were as boys, but some of them were really nervous and really like just quite uncomfortable considering they're young people.
I think for men as well, isn't it? It's a lot probably harder to get young boys. Sorry.
Yeah, it was the ratio of girls and boys. We had a lot more girls than boys for the empowerment program working towards a fashion and talent show, but the boys loved it in the end. At first, they're just walking. We're doing rehearsals. They're a bit like, you know, and they never look like they're having fun at first. But when they reach the show and they've got after a while, after a few rehearsals, when they've got the clothing, like they've got some tracksuits, some urban tracksuits, like shout out Rich DeBain, shout out Recognise Real, couple of brands that are in Creative Link that have done these fashion shows and stuff. Money Moves, Dope Souls. Like when they're in these tracksuits and they realise like, oh, we're rocking some cool stuff and that. On the actual show, they're walking with confidence and they're loving it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like when it's showtime and, you know, you've got the judges table, you've got all the people at the side and their song is on. I let them choose the song that they want to walk to. Yeah. Then it's game time and they love it. Do you know what I mean? And I just want to say, you two have model faces and you're really tall. So maybe you might want to go. Maybe you want to go.
Oh, he's really tall. I'm just tall. What? He's really tall. Okay.
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Why you can't just choose, man? Come on.
No, but like okay, you're both really tall. You both could be amazing.
No, I'm not
models.
really tall. I'm just tall in it. He's really tall.
You both could be supermodels, guys. Okay,
yeah.
and I would love
Blue
to.
Steel. You want to see
I'd love to as much. Listen. You're the one that's already done modelling, and so I know.
I've done a fashion show as young as well.
And you've done a fashion show, so I know you have the confidence already.
Yeah, let's do this.
So, you know.
Creative Link.
So Creative Link, 2 models. I've got 2 new models for Creative Link, as well as all the other amazing what we're going to do.
Yeah, just committed to that.
Yeah, just committed live here on the first podcast. And basically, so the youth side, that's what we do. And what we do as well is we have people coming in to do workshops with them. So if you guys are a member of the Creative Link, I would come to you and say, would you be interested? Well, and if anyone starts, we're all about the younger generation and empowering them. So as soon as anyone signs up, I ask them
do you know any personal trainers in the Creative Link?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, cool.
There is quite a lot. Oh gosh. We do have some personal trainers, and we're gonna do fitness.
Sounding like body dysmorphia.
We've actually got a fitness and mental health program coming up.
Okay.
And it's gonna be with a big company as well. There was a choice out of 2, and I've gone with this one for this reason, but we won't talk about it on this particular one. But hopefully on the next podcast we can talk more about the fitness and mental health and probably have the person that I'm going to do that with.
You have been busy.
I did want to just quickly, don't want to go directly into fitness and mental health, but I did want to ask you, how important is it or how do you advise these young people to kind of deal with these mental health struggles? Because like you said, as an artist and as a creative, I think the first reason I am creative at any point is to express something that maybe I can't say to someone.
So we encourage creativity as therapy as a whole. So you've got the slogan, the power of collaboration, which is probably our main, because we feel like we need each other in this. Like it's not easy. So especially if you suffer with mental health, or you have mental health challenges, it's important to have a community around you or a network of people that you trust. So when it comes to the young people, the network that we have, this 290 members plus, I'm not letting you in if you don't want to help us empower the young people when we're doing the Young Kings and Queens program and show. Like I'm not interested in you if you're not interested in the power of collaboration in regards to our young people. So in terms of that, this year, like going into next year, 2023, we're trying to get the empowerment program in the summer. So that 6 weeks they're fully engaged in creative activity. We encourage creativity as therapy. I want one-to-one sessions with them, and when you think about it, we've got 290 members. That's more than enough to mentor a young person each. 100%. Like someone who is really passionate and wants to do it and really guide them. You know, even if it's just like a video call, just being able to have that and that's the creative link between the older generation and the younger generation, and often the older generation don't realise how much they can learn from the younger generation, and the younger generation are trying to dismiss what the older generation want to tell them. But there's so much to be learned. There's so much that we can all learn from each other, and especially within the creative industry. At the end of the day, when you're stepping out as a model, you need a photographer, but then a photographer needs a model, and sometimes it can get a bit blurry, like who should make the payment. Do you know what I mean? Because 100%. We all need to update our portfolio, and we all need to get content. Everything is content. There's a little audio that's going around about everything being content. But I think it's really important for a young person to be allocated a mentor, because I just think a mentor is such a powerful thing. That's my background. Like before I was teaching, I was mentoring, and then whilst I was teaching, I was mentoring. And I'm kind of stepped out of the educational sector because there was a lot of issues. That's a whole podcast in itself, that I just feel like the safeguarding processes, the pressure put on young people and teachers. I feel like there's all the tick boxing and stuff. I feel like, me personally, I enjoyed, before I went into teaching and got my qualification, I enjoyed working in the community, where I went out canoeing and hiking up mountains, and those are memories that I will never forget, and I feel like have an everlasting impact on the young people that I worked with and myself, because I was still young myself. I was only 18 as a senior mentor climbing mountains with loads of kids.
There's something really endearing about what you do, and it's evident that you want to. I think because oftentimes when you try and create nights and you try and create events and you try and help people to do things what they need to do, what they want to do, there's costs involved in there. Yeah. And like you were saying, like, sometimes you don't know who's meant to be being paid for what's going on.
It's really difficult. Yeah.
I think you probably recognise the important thing is that the event costs need to be paid for, innit? And then to give people the space to create and be creative and make the art, innit? Yeah. I think that's the important thing, and that's where the emphasis should be. And oftentimes it gets dragged into money, like how much is so-and-so getting paid for it, when the beauty of it is the art, innit? So that's the thing that we need to kind of
homing on.
Protect.
Because and because like obviously the creative link, there are members signing up every day. Like sometimes in my sleep, like I'll wake up and there's 3 more members, and I'm like, give thanks for that. Like that's beautiful. But then it's like, okay, what am I doing for these members? Like what makes the creative link worth that little 2-minute sign up and stuff? And at the moment that's the transitional period that I'm in, like the creative agency side, but the side of it that I'll never forget about, which is raising awareness of mental health. At the heart of everything we do, it's about empowerment, it's about mental health, it's about love, it's about everything that matters. And this is why we champion community activists and mental health advocates and CICs like yours that are putting things together, projects together to help creatives, and artist development is something that we do and something that we have consultations about. But signposting and partnering with the right people, then this is easier to bring about awareness, and then it's easier for them to be helped. Like, the way my heart's set up, it's like, if somebody asked me when I was younger, are you going to run a business? It'd be like, hell no. Like, I want to be an actress. I've been on Hollyoaks, but I'm still trying to get in Hollywood. So my main thing is acting. I've got a drama acting for stage and media degree. And I've got a performing arts BTEC National. And I just love drama. I love acting because for me, that was my therapy whilst going through stuff as a child and as an adult. I get to step into a whole different world and into another character, and I get to be someone else. So creativity is my therapy. My art of acting is my therapy. I used to sing Lovers Rock when I was younger. I was so young and I was in the studio. My nan, My nan is an award-winning revival DJ. And she's kind of been around the world and stuff. And then she used to drag me along to radio with her. So I'd watch everything. And, that's when I kind of got into radio as well. She used to oversee me, but I had my own show, my own little fans, and won Best Newcomer. And then it was just, I couldn't collect my award and everything. But I did win the trophy for Best Newcomer. So, that's Storage is full. So I won Best Newcomer as a DJ, and that was me playing slow jams. And I think people found it weird to hear this little voice playing slow jams. Like, how do you know about these songs? But it was my nan playing revival music in the house, my mum playing like 90s music and old school slow jams, and that's where my love for music came from. And I used to sing on the radio, and I used to do arts fest and sing, and creativity has always got me through. So that's something that I want to ask to you guys, because the main question of every podcast for Talk Queen and Talk King is, how do you overcome adversity as males within this industry, as kings that young people are looking up to, and for everybody that comes into your studio, like, what is it that you do? Obviously, to be creative is how you overcome it. Like myself, like from singing to acting to modelling to presenting, it's sort of creative field where you don't necessarily have to put on a face for it. Like, as a presenter, I'm being me. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm being paid to be me, to present an event and to interview people. But then there's still this element of spice that you have to add to it. And if you're having a bad day, you can't be like, what do you do then? You know what I mean? Like, you still gotta always push yourself to be that vibrant version of yourself. And then as an actress, obviously,
rise to the occasion. And
as an actress, like, you know, when you go to red carpets and stuff, you still gotta put yourself on. Like, you can't just...
It's a bit in what you said, when you said, like, you presenting, but you. And so, like, I try and be as authentic as possible, like, as much as possible, and that way it becomes more, like, just natural to do things, and you're not watching what you're saying.
100.
So when you talk about, like, rise, like,
how
there are days.
Adversity, like,
the beauty of it is we're recording on it, so you can start the recording whenever you want. You can stop the recording whenever you want. So in that way, that's how I kind of protect myself from those days where I probably don't feel as vibrant.
So the process, you know, the process that you guys go through to, like, edit videos and stuff like that, like, when you're in there, do you actually look at it and think, that was a bit off? Or
I've got a mad story about this.
I try and do that probably minute by minute, which probably causes a lot of my anxiety, because I'm always trying to self-edit or trying to portray or trying to get the right thing across. So sometimes...
Guys, there was a picture that I put up the other day of myself and my son from Black Birmingham... Black Women of Birms Awards ceremony, and I was nominated. Creative Link was nominated.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Although I didn't win it, right, it was just such a blessing to be nominated and take my little boy.
And it was an experience.
It was an experience to be amongst Black excellence. And there was a picture where I was coming in and I waved. And at first I thought the picture was really nice, like I looked like a celeb waving like a queen, you know, hello. And then afterwards I kept going back to my Insta and it got loads of comments and loads of likes. Well, loads for me anyway. And I just thought, I look funny. Like, I kept looking at my face on it and it just didn't look right. And because I'm not used to wearing makeup, how I get it done for these things, I look at myself and I'm just like, because I'm used to just being natural every day. So then when it comes to the makeup, it's like, I had like 400 likes on this video with the makeup on that night, and I was just like, wow, so you like love me better with this makeup than natural? Okay then. But no, it's really nice. Big up Kirsty, my makeup artist. But there was something about the picture that I just couldn't. I kept going back to the picture, and then in the end I deleted it after all these comments and likes. But it's funny how your mind works. Like, I just couldn't.
It's funny how other people react to things as well that you don't necessarily like. And the things that you do, people don't necessarily react to. Like,
100%.
You know what I mean? And you're like, I worked like way harder, or I put way more into this, but you prefer that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's doing things for other people's validation. So I really don't let what I post on Instagram. With me, it's more than meet people. Instagram and thing doesn't really bother me, because I feel like
they're never gonna really know you.
Exactly, like, the people don't know me. So if someone's gonna sit there and I'm gonna read through the good comments people say, and them comments hold more weight than the bad comments people say.
That's true. Like, how do you weigh it up?
Like, either the good or the bad doesn't really matter. It's just for self-adulation. You just gotta make sure that you're happy with what you're putting out. Forget what anyone else is thinking.
And that's why I don't care how many likes it is, how many comments, that just got deleted, because I'm not I'm not happy with it. I don't want to keep looking at that. I like the other photos. There's one where I'm in the room and I look like centre of attention, and that could go up and other things can go up.
Well, you essentially, like, creating your own feed, and it. So it's up to.
So you want to be able to look at
like,
them.
you don't respond to like, all right, this got 200 and something views, but this got one, but that's a sick picture. I love that picture of me. Like,
it's about what you love because it's your like.
Yeah.
I feel like Instagram and stuff like this. It's your own portfolio, so you need to be happy with what's on there.
100%.
And I just feel like you guys are artists as well. Are you not? Why are you confused and you're not? So you're definitely not a duo. You right.
I'm right. I don't really perform. All right.
We're a collective, and there's a collective.
Okay.
Someone's in the other room as well.
What
Kids
now?
from Hip Hop
Yeah,
Hills.
I didn't see them on my way
She
in.
walked in. She came in halfway through. Kids from Hip Hop Hills is in there.
Oh,
She's
cool.
Another community interest company.
Okay.
She runs hip hop, therapeutic hip hop.
Therapeutic hip hop. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
okay. I gotta talk to her.
Serious
Yeah,
business.
Go in. She might not want to come in.
To the subject. What were you just talking about?
Oh yeah, my question was how you overcome adversity. Sorry, I know I jumped from thing to thing. That's why I need guidance for this podcast. But
How
yeah.
do you overcome?
I think.
Greg's thinking about it. Like, what
No, do you know what it is? It's tough, isn't it? Because obviously we have both been through a lot of adversity, I would say. So, how
as a business or like as individuals?
Individuals.
Just everything, yeah.
Individuals, I think. Are you talking about in the business?
No, I'm talking about both. Like everything's going to be really general on this podcast.
Everything's really different. So I think personally for me, that's just going to be the things that give you purpose, and they're going to help you through the times. Because it's really weird, because it's like when you're feeling hopeless, hope's the only thing that you got. It's mad.
It is.
So, for me, getting over adversity was just time. It was time, and it was looking back at what happened, or the things that have happened to me have affected the way I make decisions or I react to things, and trying to come to understand them things before me trying to think about what everyone else is thinking of me.
Exactly. And do you feel like we're individuals, right? And we run businesses, regardless of whether it's a community interest, whether it's a limited, we run a business, like still a business, we're still trying to make profit and stuff like this. But at the heart of it, making change is what you guys want to endorse and want to encourage,
definitely.
And then, for me, the power of collaboration, encouraging creativity as therapy. So, like, when your business is sort of like at the heart of it, based around sort of like mental health, well-being and these kind of things, it's like, do you ever feel more of a like, okay, so you've got to be this sort of really strong person then, or you've got a standard to set when it comes to mental health and well-being, and being an ambassador of that showing people.
I want to answer that one.
Yeah, go on.
I'm just working on a podcast at the moment that's going to be released later today, that we recorded probably 2 years ago, 3 maybe.
Wow, do you have antique podcasts then?
Yeah,
that you recorded like years ago?
From the archives. So it was out at the time, but I'm going to re-release it because it's around suicide awareness and prevention. And it was International Men's Day yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
And I saw a few posts about suicide awareness and stuff.
So that's what you thought to bring it back.
So it kind of brought it to my mind, and I thought it was a brilliant podcast. But we have people that will approach us from the community that are in distress, not necessarily to the extremes of suicide, but sometimes. And people approach us often and see us maybe as like someone, because we work in the field, we're quite aware of a lot of things, and we've done a lot of work that we're quite resilient to it. It's true, we are. But there are times when you're not feeling so resilient, and people may reach out to you. And at times it can be draining, and so that alone is affecting your own mental health. I'm so interested to know
how to deal with it,
because it's like we can offload to each other in it, which is very helpful because we're a partnership in it. We can offload to each other, but sometimes when it's in amongst us anyway, some like, do you know what I mean? There is a duty of care for us as well that needs to be adhered to.
Exactly.
But
this is the thing when you're working for yourself as well, like as in having your own business. Like when you work for other establishments, sometimes there's someone to go to within that organisation or establishment. But when it's just you guys, you know, the fact that you got each other is great. Having a strong friendship and relationship outside of business and being able to call. But yeah, like I was saying, like you were saying, like there's
definitely a pressure there. But like I wouldn't even say that. I'd say for me, also like another one. I wouldn't even say that it was like a thing I genuinely feel. I wouldn't say like, oh, I'm struggling. It's not the case. I'm just saying there are times when sometimes you may not be feeling great, and someone will contact you, and you'd be like. But you still be there for the minute, and it's and that's the important thing. And you find that it helps you in return.
Exactly.
No, I agree with you on that point. Like if that's the standard, then if you're taking on a lot of other people's, I don't want to say problems or burdens because they're not burdens, but issues. If they're going through something, their emotional response is what you're taking on, and emotional response is energy on it.
Yes.
Like if you're around positive people and they're upbeat, you're more likely going to become upbeat. If you're constantly
it depends if it's a constant positive person. Sometimes that's
you are right.
Yeah.
But if it's
balance is key.
Yeah, balance is definitely key. Yeah. So I think in that aspect you're 100% right. But I was just thinking in terms of, do I feel like we need to be at a higher standard in terms of when we're dealing with mental health? I feel like we have to give the best advice we can give, and we have to make it clear to people that although we've been through things, because we do get a lot of people, I get a lot of people call me, and these are people I've known over the years, and they're like, whether you want to say they're men's men or whatever, it just shows me that realistically, like, you still feel that there's a need for this, because you can't go to your friends and talk about certain issues where I know I could go to my friends and talk about anything.
Why is that though? Why do you feel like, why in the male community, why is it that?
But we don't, it's hard because we don't see the male community the way a lot of people see the male. Like our group of friends are quite closely knit. We're tight in it. So anything we like, I can go to,
But is that absolutely anything? Because I know that as women we talk about everything, but it's like with men, do you feel like you could talk about everything?
Yeah.
We could, but we don't.
I know you don't. I'm not saying that.
Yo, I've got this horrible corn at the moment.
I'm not talking about your corn. I'm talking about, like, you know, real deep stuff. Like if it was 2 a.m. and you were having
I think men can be more resilient in that way. I think men can be more resilient in that way.
I know.
What I'm saying
they don't need to express themselves.
I'm not saying
as
you
much.
don't need to, but sometimes you do.
Yeah.
So I'm saying at 2 a.m, if you didn't have a partner, I don't know if you both have wives, but what I'm saying is, like, say if you didn't have a partner and you lived by yourself, and you just had these thoughts, your thoughts was racing at 2 a.m, and you needed to be with someone, like, not just call them, you know, but call them and say, yo, can you link me?
100%.
Do you feel like you could do that?
100%.
Okay, that's why
I'm aware that it's not a common thing, like it's not massively common.
Yeah, it's not like, but
I mean, I say I could ring someone at 2, 3 in the morning if they're gonna answer the phone, isn't it?
And if they're gonna come around.
But there's been times where I've had man come and pick me up from Coventry, like when I've been sat in a corner of a shop, like in the shop front, just like shivering in like Christmas Day or something, and I've rang him at 3 in the morning. And he's like, "Where are you?"
That
he's
is
landing
beautiful.
and picked me up.
Nah, can we start there and just give some acknowledgement to that friend, because Christmas, you know, it's all about
big up yourself,
family.
Craggers.
Oh, big up yourself, like, because seriously, you know, Christmas time, it's time for family, but it's a time that really we should be there for each other more, rather than less. But you know, everyone's very much in their own circles and their own family. So for someone to come from Birmingham to
that's like my brother, though, man. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I was just about to say that as well.
But either way, like having friends who become like brothers and sisters. That's an answer that, because you have already answered how you overcome adversity, like you give some answers and stuff, and you know, I kind of asked another question as well, but you know, having good people around you, like time
100%.
is one answer, then having good people around you, these type of friends that you guys are able to call upon. Now some people could be watching this and thinking, oh well, them man are just lucky because I ain't got no man that would do that for me.
As well, sometimes especially young men think they know how their friends are going to react to something,
and it might always be different. You might always. That's what I want to put out there. you might actually get a different response to what you feel like your man then would give you.
Exactly. You could say to your man, yo, I've been feeling down. And man be like, yo, bro, like...
So have I.
Bro,
And then that would be the last thing they would expect for a man, for their friend to say, so have I.
Yeah, but it's not always necessarily the case though, because it's awareness. Like, before I experience any kind of mad issues, like, I probably would have been the person that'd be like, yo, pattern up, man. Like...
You know what? I love your honesty, Greg. I
But
do.
until it happened
important.
to me, I wasn't aware of it, and I wasn't conscious of it, and I wasn't...
I mean, it's different, though, isn't it? Where you come from.
So what friend would you be?
Mate, I would listen, you know, 'cause I've just always been that way inclined. Like, I come from a family of like social workers, foster carers.
So that's where
so
you
I've always grew up with kids with mental health issues in my yard. Like, my mum would bring them in always from that big.
Yeah.
So I've always had foster brothers, sisters. So I get it. I've always got it.
But
so
not everybody has that. You know what I mean? Like
100%,
that's a great example of like how you got to understand mental health, like foster kids and kids having these kind of issues, and then you getting to know them, creating a bond with them, and getting to know it in depth from in-house.
Yeah,
so that's amazing, because it is a question of like how are young people supposed to know about mental health?
It's interesting that Ers learned that way, and I learned the deep end way.
Yeah, two different ends of the spectrum.
Walking streets, like talking to aliens and that. Like, come on, like.
Yeah, you're definitely.
And that was like from 0 to 100. So I was the most, in my late teens, the most confident. Like I said, I was doing modelling and stuff. Confident, like, doing this and doing that. Hit me, bam. And then it was just like my whole perspective changed on life.
Yeah.
You say the breakthrough, and you have a breakdown.
Yeah,
you have a breakthrough.
breakthrough.
I wouldn't even.
I
did have to sit down
things differently because obviously I was, like I said, I've always been aware of mental health. But I think when I had my own mental health issues, and I don't even like see, I'm always questioning like what people define as having a mental health issue as well, because
that is
it's where their mind it stops them from functioning.
Okay,
in a way that
this is what I'm saying. So if I go through a very traumatic experience, like my brother died, then I'm gonna be depressed then. So I was depressed for a long time.
So is that a mental breakdown, or is that just grief? Do you know what I mean?
This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but a breakdown is when you can't just function. Like you're trying to do one thing, and then you got 5 seconds on that, and then you're doing something else, and then you're like, what was I doing again? And then you go and do something else. You can't function.
Exactly. So this is what I'm trying to say. So I went for a period of not being able to function. A period.
Is this after your loss?
So then it's
after your loss.
Mental health issue. Then it becomes an
That's
issue.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So dealing with my own mental health issue wasn't as easy as me offering,
understanding it.
Having an ER or trying to give some advice and understanding it and trying to give some good combo advice when it actually happens to you. Because like you say, you've never really been down until you're down, innit?
Yeah.
So until you
the only way is
I think a lot of people would say it was societal, like the reason why men don't talk and the reason why men can't express I wouldn't say it's 100% that. I would say a lot of it is instinctive. It's instinctive because there's been a time when I've had to go to a counsellor and I've had to speak to this guy and I've come out of there and I felt like a fucking lettuce, man. Excuse my language. But
is that like
excuse my language, because I've come out and I'm like I just like it could be, but it's like sometimes you need your ego, man.
But is it because you wasn't comfortable with her, or is it
when you got nothing else? When you got nothing else but your ego, you need that motherfucker to come in and say, "You're the man." You need your ego to come in and say, you are the man, get the fuck up. Sometimes you need
whether you tell yourself you're the man or not, if you're still doing the same decisions you were doing.
Yeah,
if you're still making them same things. If every day you come out and so someone put something up the other day about something and I said, so basically, if a man goes out and he fucks up, or he's not making no money, or whatever he's doing, and he just ain't doing it.
Yeah, but
then
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, so then he comes back. And then he goes out and does the same thing again. And then he does the same thing again. There's at some point I'm going to turn around to you and say, you're a fool.
Yeah, that's madness.
Do you understand what I'm saying? That's
expecting different results. If you're expecting different results
what you're doing, that's the only way you're going to see results. I get like, we've got to go through that period where, you know, we're knocking down walls. We believe so much in what we're doing. We've got to see if it works. But at some point you have to use your brain and say, the way I'm doing this or trying to get through life, ain't working. So for me, the ego thing of me being, I'm the man, but I ain't doing shit. Don't run with me like you can have your ego. But no. I know what you're saying.
I'm saying. I'm not saying
I'm talking
like
to the kids now.
yeah, okay. Ego. I'm saying sometimes you need your ego in it when you've got nothing else. When you're alone in the dark, you're alone in a dark place. You sat there, and like you can humble yourself to insanity as well.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So sometimes the ego has to say, "Yo, stop humbling yourself
and get up now." And like we were saying about not knowing when you should be paid, you know, constantly building up your portfolio. Am I an established creative now, or am I not?
I'm not.
Yes. You decided it.
It's true. You decide that now, and I think you do have to. There's a level of work that you have to put in and a portfolio that you need to showcase yourself. But you know, there does come a point where it's like, I'm ready now. I've been captured for a while now. Let me spread my wings. You know. And the response that you get from it as well. But remember, it's your self-validation that's the most important when it comes to your art, your work. And then obviously for me, as the CEO and founder of The Creative Link, getting to know the artist behind the art is important for me as well, because of what I'm representing and for what I'm bringing. And just going back to what you were saying in terms of like when you had a loss and you had this grief, what do you feel like was the change that you made? Making change. What change did you make?
I think there was a few. Making change was
change itself.
Because obviously I went through depression, and my friend come. I was like
30, I think, when we started this.
Yeah, I was 30 actually. Yeah, so my brother died when I was 21. So through that time, I went to uni, got a job, everything working, house. Everyone was like, "Oh, you're so strong, you're doing this." But inside it was like, I don't think it really hit me till a few years later. So when it hit me, I was like, like my life's good. My life is blessed. So for time, I was telling myself that. What's the matter with you? Life is blessed. You're nice. Then it just hit me. I was like, fuck this.
So how long did that take? So if you don't mind me asking the period of time, because if it was 21 when it happened,
it took about 8 years for it to fully like hit me.
Hit you and just like was you
knocked me off my feet.
So you was obviously really close with your brother, and then it was kind of like it took you stayed busy, because this is really important, and I'm really grateful that you're
grief and work are so compatible.
Yeah. So the grief and the work and sort of like turning pain into purpose is my slogan. So the power of collaboration for Creative Link and encouraging creativity is therapy, but turning pain into purpose is mine, because a lot of men say turning pain into power. That is what they're for me. I'm like turning pain into purpose. Now you created this then, so out of that seed, 100%. like that seed was created through pain and purpose, and the purpose was to use this podcast studio to help and to
get
talk
young men
and
to
get
talk
young
about
men
how
to
they
talk. Now, this is why, I want to work so closely with you, because, there's a lot of suicides in men, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot going on, not just with men, but in the world. So, as a female, I want to help facilitate, get more people on these sofas and just facilitate a conversation. And obviously, you guys seem like the best guys to do that as well, because the fact that you're so open with these experiences is really helpful, because some men just aren't. So some men will say like, I'll jump on there, like for the fact that podcasts are becoming really popular, but I don't just want one of these popular podcasts. I just have to do it with substance, and I feel like a lot of substantial work and projects of substance come out of here, which is why I'm here. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
But when you went through that change, that transitional period, and you had that time, like in that interim of when it happened to you building up this and creating this, you kept yourself very busy. So then when you got to a point where you was content and stable, the emotional regulation time can slip, because it's like, okay, you're in this routine, you've set up this, and throughout the hardcore grieving stage, of real, like this has just happened, sort of processing the processing of it. You were busy, you're keeping yourself physically busy, and then that also affects your mental health as well, like that you're busy, and sometimes it can be really positive, but then sometimes it can actually be a major implication down the line, because you kept yourself busy during that processing of the loss, and then you then moved on, you then sort of you sort of like sugarcoated the process then because you were busy with positive things. So then not sugarcoated the process, but your life was like
100%.
you were still in pain. You were still in pain, but you were still
100%.
striving. So on the outside, it looks great, but on the inside, there's
100%.
turmoil that you're not gonna suppress by doing all this stuff. So for me, like for you and your loss, like a seed come out of it, and it was beautiful. And I'm sure with yourself, with Greg, with your mental relapse, like you may have had the seeds that come from that pain.
Listen, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing.
Unmatched.
I'm talking about like I don't long for my life to have been different.
Yes.
Nah,
I don't
that's
because everything, even the bad things have literally taught me something.
Like what we've done is so influential because not everybody can do what we do, and like I've realised that like not everybody can just get a mic and go on the radio or jump in front of a camera or just talk on a live or do this what we're doing. Not everybody is built like this. Do you know what I mean? Some people are very private and very like they could do certain stuff like this, but it has to be scripted. Do you get what I mean? They wouldn't be able to freestyle or just feel comfortable to have an open conversation, especially about how to overcome adversity.
It's not necessarily a natural ability.
It's not necessarily.
This is years in the making, and
years in the making and free flowing, and So one of you discussed about loss, and then so last year I lost a baby that I prayed for, and that was just so traumatic, and I was sharing it at the time of it happening. I shared like I didn't expect when losing this baby, like I didn't expect like the nurse to say, "Do you want a picture?" Like me and my daughter's dad and having a picture. So because I'm so used to sharing everything, I actually shared that picture on the same night that it happened, and I think a lot of people were quite concerned. Why
have you done that?
Why have you shared a picture? Because it's like they see me holding a baby. You don't see the whole of my baby, but you see me holding a baby. You see me looking down. I was in so much distress that my baby wasn't breathing, and then it was a very sad photo, and a lot of people from Birmingham showed their love and liked it. And everybody, a lot of people showed love, but like one of my good friends, like not that close with that, but one of my good friends was just like, no, I knew you was unwell to have posted that picture. It was like bad, like you shouldn't have done that. Her reason was that it's just like it's sensitive for me. Well, she never said this, but this is what I got from it. That number one, it's very sensitive. But then I realised that a lot of people, when I searched the hashtag for baby loss, a lot of people have done it. It's not like I'm weird. She made me feel a bit weird. And then another thing is like, it's quite unsettling for people to see.
She was uncomfortable.
She was uncomfortable. And you know what? I'm not going to lie, like, it did help me to post it because I'd been sharing my process of my pregnancy and my mental health and how happy I am and how sad I am, and just like I'd been, you see my belly, like, so for me it was like, wow, this has just happened. I share my experiences to help other women overcome adversity. I've spoke on mental health and being diagnosed. I've spoke on being diagnosed with certain health conditions. I've spoke on domestic violence and dealing with that. Now I've just lost a baby, so this is what's happened, guys. You get me? And some people can think it's like wanting attention. And it's never been that for me. Like I always say to people, if I wanted attention, like I'm an actress, I'm a model, I'm a presenter, and I do all these different things. Like if I wanted attention, my whole page could just be like the first kind of modelling that I've done in underwear. Do you know what I mean? And a cape and stuff. And my whole page could be set up like that, which is what people used to say to me. If you want to be a model, allow all this other positive shit that you put up, allow your quotes, and allow all this positive shit. If you want to be a model and only post your body pictures. That's where the likes are, that's where the comments are. But unfortunately, I'm just not that model then. So I'm still going to do it, and I'm going to show you that I can do it without having to do that. Like, I can still be a woman that is representing for the kind of young queen that I would have raised, that you don't have to do that, and it's okay to be multifaceted, multi-talented, and to love every aspect of what you do. I'm sorry, 100%. My page ain't just going to be me naked. As much as you want it to be, that's not what it's going to be. So, even like my odd picture where I'm in a bikini, even that makes me feel uncomfortable, but it's just what you're comfortable with as a model. You can choose the modelling that you want to do. I know I said you like a mannequin when it comes to fashion shows and you wear what you're given.
But you are, right.
But you are able to kind of choose. Like, I don't want anyone to think that you just have to be I was going to say patriot.
I guess it depends what people want out of it.
You don't have to be a that. Basically, I'm sorry.
And
you don't
if
have
you think
to be.
about a male, if someone wanted to be a male model, you have to think about what do you want out of it. Do you want to be a model? Do you want to model for?
You know, there are restrictions. There are restrictions of like as a fashion model, and that's what I said. Oh, you're tall. You're.
Oh, here we go.
No, because I'm saying.
Here we go again.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Right,
As a fashion model, you have to be over 6. You have to be over 6'9".
6'9".
6'9".
I mean, not 6'9". No, 6'1". Sorry, as a fashion model on the runway. But then you can be. So if I was casting you, I'd say you're a runway fashion model, yeah, and then your editorial, like as in the probably modelling that you were doing, like as in your face. You know, your beautiful face.
Okay, just the face, yeah.
So, but not just the face, though. Like, and obviously your body as well. I'm just saying, like, for fashion runway walking, they need you over a certain height. But I'm not saying you're not that height because I haven't. I don't know you guys' height, but I'm just saying. But in regards to like,
I'm definitely
over 6'1".
What you two are talking about now?
You know what? I'm going off topic. They cut this out.
So
but anyway,
still talking about my height, man.
Going back. No, man, I'm not cussing you. Right? Come on. Don't. But what I'm saying is, in regards to what people think and how people view you,
yes.
Obviously, I did feel like, oh my God, like, should I not have put up that picture? And obviously, it's archived at the moment because I could never bring myself to delete it because all that love that was shared on there and all that love of like that like to me, that's my angel baby, and that's given me the motivation and you know, I prayed for that baby girl. She came, she passed. Do you know what I mean? And that's always going to be like a motivation for me. And now I've set up, I'm in the process of setting a charity in her loving memory called the Azari Jordan Foundation, which is going to be supporting women and men and families through loss, because I didn't feel like there was enough for me during that time. I don't think I was prepared for it at all. So that's another thing that Creative Link will always be supporting the Azari Jordan Foundation, vice versa. And I just feel like whatever pain I've gone through has been the planting of a seed that is something so powerful, because, you know, men are going through, like, just because I physically lost the baby, the man that I lost the baby with was also going through a turmoil as well. Like, he never went through it physically, but he went through it mentally and emotionally. And I think it's important to put an emphasis on the fact that men are having to keep their women up when this is happening, and then some of these women are just going straight back to work, and the man's just straight back to work, and then there's a child having to understand why mommy was pregnant and now she's not and there's no baby, or you know, why there's probably arguments because of this, why the relationship's broken down, and there was a lot of adversity that come with that whole situation. And then after it, like, me and my ex-partner were talking on it strongly because we felt neglected by the hospital and as to what happened. And then, you know, and then there was a breakdown with me and him. So then it was just kind of like, all of this was public. And this is what people say to me: you have to be careful what you publicise, because then it's just everybody's now in your life. And I'm not even at celebrity status, but just sort of like a bit known 100%. In Birmingham. But, you know, there's a lot of adversity that comes with being a public figure. Definitely. And it's kind of like, what public figure do you want to be? Do you know what I mean? What is it that you're influencing? To me, this is something that I want to end the podcast with. Like, what is it that you're influencing? And these influencers that you're watching, what are they influencing you to do? Like, is it something positive? Is it gonna make you money? Is it gonna make you is it gonna give you a positive mindset? Is it gonna help you invest? Is it gonna help you be a better person?
Positive change.
Is it gonna bring about a positive change? Because I'm quite confused sometimes in terms of these influencers and what it is they're actually influencing. I
think they are too, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think some of them are confused as to what they're promoting.
Yeah, I feel like knowing yourself, it's just like, do they know themselves? Like, are they even sure what they're influencing? They've just got a whole load of followers.
They got managers saying, yo, do this, do that, do this, do that. But that's the other thing, you just finish it on a great note. Know yourself. I feel like that's the biggest thing to anything. When you know yourself, it's harder. I'm not saying people can't, but it's so much harder for people to or anything to shake your foundations.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. When you don't know who you are, you don't know how you should act. You're like, you go with the wind, you go with the flow. But when you know yourself, you know
It's
why
about-
you're doing things.
it's
So
about,
if you
like-
don't stand for something, you fall for anything.
Exactly. And you know, one thing that I didn't mention about last year, obviously putting up that picture and how people was perceiving me, and this being my journey and constantly wanting to use my personal experiences of adversity to show other people how I'm overcoming it and using creativity as therapy to show that it works, because you guys believe it works, right? I believe it works.
100%,
Creativity is
100%.
therapy and the power of collaboration. I also, straight after losing my baby, I had 2 brain surgeries as well. So I always thought there was something wrong with my head. I always felt like it wasn't just mental health. But then when they looked in my eyes and they said I've got swollen optic nerves and I'm going to need some lumbar punctures, if that doesn't work, so I had quite a few of them whilst I was pregnant, couching and having the fluid extracted from my spine to see if they could calm down the pressure, because I would have went blind. The thought of not being able to see my son again after just losing a daughter, the amount of trauma, having to process it, and then there was me still thinking about my creative link members and just other things whilst I'm in hospital and watching the clock and just thinking, oh, when I come out of here, if I can still see, do you know what I mean? And but even if I can't see, it will be even more about what I feel. And I just think, like, to get through that time of, like, the loss of a baby, this condition, this pressure and swelling on my brain. So big love to anybody with idiopathic intracranial hypertension. quite a mouthful, but it's very uncommon. I made a group of people to kind of support each other through that as well, because there's not that much information. It's very scary to be told that you could go blind because there's some nerves at the back of your eyes that are swollen, and you gotta have this lumbar puncture, you gotta be injected and all of this.
Definitely.
And then it's just like your whole life changes. You start having blackouts, you can't see, really bad headaches, and obviously being pregnant at the same time, it was crazy. There was a time where I'm walking with my son and I didn't realise there was a lorry, so something told me to step back, but I didn't see. So sort of losing your vision at the side and stuff, it's very scary, especially like when you drive and you didn't realise you have this condition. Like, there's a lot of things. So it's kind of like, for me to kind of get through the loss of a baby, the first brain surgery didn't work. They put a shunt in my head so you can actually see it. Obviously the camera probably won't, but it's a line here that goes from my head to my stomach to preserve my vision and allow the fluid to flow better than it was. So I'm classed as disabled, but I don't feel disabled, do you know what I mean? So it's like there's a lot of things that I could do to sort of help myself more, and there's a lot of things that have to change and whatnot. And it's just sort of like when these kind of things happen, so the loss of a baby, the brain surgery, they put the shunt in and they said it was ridged. I'd never heard this word before, like, what's ridged? How you mean? What's happened? They had to open my head, operate again, do it again. So the loss of a baby, 2 brain surgeries, and then the breakdown in my relationship as well, and then sort of some shenanigans after that. So it's like so much to process while still looking after a child, while still trying to create something amazing for other people that are going through adversity as well. Bringing about this podcast to bring it all in. So it's just kind of like to get through such an emotional year and then be nominated the next year for female-led business for such a positive platform, Black Women of Burns, and then to be making connections like I am now. I have to thank God, because it could have been a whole different story. Like, do you know what I mean? I could have been blind. I could have been stuck in a situation. There's so much twists and turns in life. But as creatives, we continue to plant these seeds and come together, and things can really work out, is what I want to end it with.
They say you never give them more than you can bear, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was a good chat. Thank you for having us on as your first guest. Yes,
kings, because you're both kings, so it makes sense for you to come on talking and be the first, and with everything that you're doing as well.
Blessings.
Seem to fall out, but tell me, will this